Wormhole has a bunch of different styles and types of tattoo needles which are available. It's really important to talk a little bit about the usage of them. And in the meantime, I'll pull some of them out. When we're using a single needle, they're sharper, so they penetrate the skin a lot easier with your pressure. We typically will want to use these at about 1.5 millimeters into the skin. Some of the other more shading type of needles we'll use at a depth at around 2 to 3 millimeters. Okay. Wormhole, of course, has a wide variety of different types, all the way from needles all the way up to shading needles, which we call magnum. Okay, here we go. Now, when you're tattooing, it's really important that there's areas to avoid so that you don't have any scarring. One area scarring can occur is if you apply too much pressure and it goes too deep. That's certainly one area which could cause scars. So by using different pressures and different depths, utilizing the different needles, we can create all different types of artistic effects. Another area, when you're actually applying pressure, you want to get down to the dermis layer. The dermis layer will give you the most beautiful color. It will enable the color to last for a long time. At the epidermis level, it will be a situation where the color will soon disappear. In addition, the sharpness of the needle will impact the depth of the color. The sharper the needle, the smaller amount of ink which will actually flow through, so the lighter the color. In terms of more blunt needle, more ink will penetrate the skin, therefore we'll have a much darker effect. Let's just take a look at a couple of these needles here. Here we see 4 different types. A single needle is certainly something which we would use. The single tattoo needle is sharper and easy to penetrate the skin. These are ideally used for detail work in a very slow speed so that you don't make mistakes by penetrating for too long. You will get undesired effects. We are only producing a little bit of ink, and again, this is for detailed work. We've got a different one here, and this would be your round one variety. Well, it's quite good for giving you a little more lighter color. It won't go so deep because you've got a round edge. Let's take a look at the third one when we get into shading type of needles. These are called magnum. These consist of multiple needles. Again, they actually will deliver ink as the ink gets is in between the different needles as you penetrate the skin. As we increase the number of needles, there, we take a close-up of this needle, we can see the concave nature. As it applies to your skin will create a bit of a curve, so these will match. Again, here we are with a single needle. Let's just penetrate. Take a look. I'm not an artist, but there we go, so it's much finer. Next we have the stacked magnum needles, which are several. And if I apply here, they're ideal for shading. They will cover a much greater area. As you can see, the ink is applied as the ink is actually in between the different needles, so that's how it gets through the skin down to the dermis. Okay. Here we go. Again, you can see a much wider effect even on my practice hand. Okay, so these would be the types of needles which we would use to cover a much greater area by shading.